Okay, welcome back everyone. What we're going to do now with Module 4 is talk about business letters. In particular, routine business letters. Now, majority of the written communique that you will do, emails, letters, reports, memorandum, will be of a routine nature. Now, routine basically, again, means the requesting of information, the providing of information, providing of details, asking questions, so on and so on. There are two other areas that we will talk about after in Module 4, and that will be persuasive and negative messages, and they have different formats. But for now, let's just look at business letters, and in this regard, from a routine point of view. Why do we still use business letters? Again, business letters are hard copy documents, paper, ink on paper. But why do we still use these in this era of digital communication? Well, first of all, business letters convey a powerful and effective message. Why? Because they produce a permanent record. Even today, a signed letter, which details information, is totally acceptable in a court of law. Digital or digitized messages are becoming far more accepted, yet there can be some questioning about them. So, a letter produces a permanent record. It maintains confidentiality. Unlike digitized communication, email, texting, which can be hacked, letters can't be hacked. They're paper. So again, it's confidential. About the only time it can be, shall we say, distributed is by reproduction and physical distribution. It conveys formality and sensitivity. Just think about when you were accepted into UIC and then into the program. You probably received a letter of acceptance. Okay. Could they have done this with an email? Absolutely. Could they have done it with a phone call? Surely. But the formal nature of a letter acceptance on UIC letterhead, gives this great formality and sensitivity concern. It is used primarily for external communication. Now, what does that mean? Primarily to individuals or groups outside of the company. Customers, suppliers, whoever is not an actual employee. This does not mean that they are never used for employees. Certainly, they will send a letter of acceptance when a person is hired and a letter of termination when someone is fired, and there may be other occurrences, but relatively speaking, letters are used primarily for external communication. Talk about the business letter now. Does this not look familiar? Absolutely. Routine messages, letters, emails, reports, whatever, memos, whatever they may be, follow the same structure. There are different headers and there are different footers depending upon the document. However, the structure of the content, the message, does not change. There will be an opening paragraph which states the topic of the purpose, possibly provides a brief subtopic, background information, and then a transition into the body. The body paragraph or paragraphs, depending upon the number of subtopics to discuss. Each paragraph will restate the subtopic, present the brief details, and again transitions. Finally, a closing. Closings are the same, no matter what format they are in. You provide a summary, possibly a final thought, and always a call for action, intrinsic or extrinsic. Okay? So, let's move on. Formatting. This is an example of the header section of a quote typical letter. Okay. At the very top we have the letterhead. The letterhead, as you can see here, indicates the name of the company, possibly the address. maybe a web address, phone number, fax number, email address. Could be any number of things. Most companies have this information in their letterhead. The letterhead takes up the top 2 inches of the first page only. Subsequent pages of a letter will begin at the 1-inch mark at the very top of the page. Again, all companies will have some kind of a letterhead. You will be creating a letterhead for your assignment or assignments for this portion of Module 4. More on that in the particular fact sheets. The next thing we'll see, and this is the line that immediately follows just below the 2-inch mark, is the date. Note month, day, and year. Again, always a month, day, and a year. Spell out March. Don't put down 4/9/15. Not acceptable. Totally spell out the word March 9, 2015 in this case. We then have a break. A space line or two. We'll talk more about spacing in a bit. We have the inside address. This is to whom the letter is being written to. Always, always, always have a name of an individual. If you don't know who you are writing to, you know the name of the title of the individual, be it the marketing director, comptroller, president. Don't send it to comptroller, marketing director, or president. In today's technology, it is so easy to obtain this information. Find it. If you can't find the exact person, find someone who is close to it. For our exercises, if I give you a corporate title but no name, make up a name. We always go with Ms., Mr., Mrs., Doctor, whatever the case might be. Do that. We have the name of the company, or basically first we have their corporate title, name of the company, address, full address, street, and city, state, zip. Next we have the salutation. Unless you know the individual, put down dear Ms., in this case Williams, dear Mr. So-and-so, whatever the case might be. Follow the last name with a colon or a comma. Again, your choice here. Here's the spacing. As I mentioned, 2 inches reserved on the first page for the letterhead. The date begins immediately below that space. Then you have here this 2 to 7 blank lines. This is called the fill zone, or I might call it the fluff zone. There will be times when your letter will not take up a full page of a paper, the full side. You'll have maybe extensive white space that falls below the letter. This doesn't look good. It doesn't present well. In which case then you will use this fill zone, fluff zone. You will either add space or you'll delete space, depending on what you need to do. To fill the page, you will add space. If you have a letter that goes 2-3 lines onto a second page, you'll reduce that and bring everything onto one. Okay. After the inside address, you'll have one blank line, salutation, another blank line. Let's move on. Next, we have the guts, if you will, of the letter itself. We have the opening, we have the body, and a closing. Well, we have the opening here, and in this particular case, this opening tells you, that this letter illustrates how to write a routine business letter, but it's going to be the same. Gives me the purpose right off the bat, followed by maybe some background information and a transition. Next, we'll get into the body. Again, it depends on, how many items you're going to talk about. 1 item, 2 items, 5 items. Again, that'll be the number of paragraphs. Note that I use 1, 2, 3 here, so some kind of graphic highlighting will certainly be appropriate when it is appropriate to use. And always leave a blank line between paragraphs. If you indent, great, be consistent, but still give me that blank line, or that blank line. Excuse me, that blank line. Onward onto the page, we have the closing down near the back. As you can see at the bottom, you can see it is a single paragraph. It gives the wrap up, final thought, and a call for action. Now we have our complimentary closing, kind of like the signature block. We have sincerely, yours truly, best regards. I will leave that totally up to you. You'll next notice we have a signature. This is the signature of the person writing the letter. Again, only colors you can use are blue and black ink. We'll talk about spacing here in a bit. We have the name of the individual who wrote the letter. This name will be the legal name. So if Sharon Montoya does not have a middle initial or a middle name, that would be her legal name. If she had a middle name of Anne, for example, it may be Sharon A. Montoya. However, we have to assume from this she does not. Always below that, you can always put in their corporate title. Not a bad idea to do that. People like their corporate title, so go ahead. Next we have here is something that is really infrequently used anymore, and these are the reference initials. The first initials, capital S, capital M, are the initiator, the writer of the letter. In this case, Sharon Montoya. Following the colon is LEF. Now LEF in the lowercase would be the individual who would actually be typing the letter itself. Like I said, most individuals type their own letters nowadays, don't have individuals who actually type it for it. However, if they did, LEF would be the initials of the person that would type it. Now if you type your own, don't, in the case of Sharon here, don't type SM:SM. Totally eliminate the line. It is not necessary. Follow that, as you can see, we have the CCs, the BCCs, if necessary, enclosures and attachments, as I discussed more in detail on the memorandum review video that you saw. Now, for the signature, the space reserved for the signature is 3 to 4 blank lines. Go ahead and sign your name in the space provided. No problem with that. Do it. After the printed name and title, another blank line. If there's initials, another blank line, and so on and so on. Anyways, that is the structure of a very basic routine letter. That's it for letters, routine letters. If you have any questions, let me know, and we'll be talking later on. Thank you.